Hey everyone, welcome back to a Sunday late night show. And unfortunately, Bitcoin is doing what Bitcoin does. It's down almost some percent today, just now in the last couple hours after it changed over to Monday hours. So it hasn't been a great weekend for us. We're down like 14% at the bottom from the top where we were on Friday. So that's not great. We'll take a look at what's going on there. We'll take a look at the miners, how they did last week against Bitcoin as well. We'll talk about maybe the tariffs a little bit as well. There's not much going on here other than Bitcoin crashing. Bitcoin also hash rate reaching a new all-time high on Friday, which was kind of a surprise there. We'll talk about that a little bit as well. And then on some serious note, well, this is all serious stuff anyways, but I've heard just recently here on X that Dr. Lewis at ChargeStack on X supposedly has had a heart attack and is in a coma. So I just wanted to wish him all the best and prayers that go out to him and his family. Hopefully he does well and he recovers quickly. So if that is the case, like I said, I hope he recovers relatively quickly here. I've met him. I haven't met him personally. I've interacted with him on X a couple of times and on Spaces as well. What can I say about the guy other than a real professional as far as when it comes to this space? Always very cordial, very nice. So I mean, I can't say a bad thing about him, so I wish him all the best. I really do, if that was the case that he had that. So hopefully you guys can wish him goodwill as well. But let's get into it here, see what we got going on here today, and we'll get into your Q&A as well. But as always, not financial advice, for entertainment only. Do your own research, full disclosure below that. And then if you guys could be so kind as to hit the like button, subscribe, helps me out tremendously here. And let's take a look at what's going on in Bitcoin here right now. Bitcoin is holding roughly at the 100 simple day moving average. Right now, it blew past the 50-day moving average yesterday on Sunday. And Saturday, we were still at least above 100,000, but today we fell below it, and then we fell even harder now as well. So we got down to a low of 91,178. We definitely dropped below it, but we bounced off of that, and let's take a look at the 15-minute chart here. Yeah, we just had a quick wick down into it and came back up here a little bit here, but it's not looking too great for Bitcoin right now. Right? What is the cause of this? Well, I think it's the tariffs. The tariffs are having an impact on fear in the market. Basically, everybody's fearful that that's going to mean for higher inflation, which would then mean more interest rate hikes potentially instead of cuts. Right? That's not a good thing for us. Especially for risk on assets. We want cuts, we want interest rates to be lower, make it easier for people to get into Bitcoin and other proxies as well. So what happened? Well, President Trump initiated basically a tariff on Canada and Mexico at 25% and on China at 10%. And then he spoke about the EU, that tariffs are coming on them as well. And he said that tariffs are the ones that he basically provided right now are not a means of, I'm paraphrasing here, so bear with me, but it's basically that they're not meant for negotiations. It's just, this is what it is, I guess. So he's drawing a hard line maybe. Is it for negotiations? We don't know, right? Things can definitely change for us here in a little bit, but we'll see how things go on that one. What else do we have? Canada and Mexico are going to be also putting tariffs on the United States. So we got that going for us. So basically we're in a tariff war right now with, well, Canada, Mexico, EU possibly, and maybe other countries as well. China is in there as well. So it's definitely getting spicy out there, as you can see. We'll see where Bitcoin goes tomorrow. Well, today it's already been down quite a bit. It's down right now on the day. It's down 4.2% currently right now. It was down to like 6.77 at the bottom of it. We'll see where it goes. Right now, I'm thinking that maybe the 100 simple day moving average holds. If that doesn't hold, I talked about this in the past as well. Right when we were coming down here, I talked about possibly going down to maybe the 200 simple day moving average at 78,000. At that point, it was a little bit lower. It was at 73. I said like 75,000. And if we look at the Bitcoin futures here, it's the CME futures. We got a nice gap here between 102,000 and basically 98,000 that has just formed over the weekend here on CME futures. So that maybe we get bounced, but we do have a gap also back here between, what is that, 80,000 and roughly 77,800. Could we have a wick down to it to close that gap around that range? Well, at 77,000, that would fill that gap right there, more or less. So if we have a gap or a wick it just goes straight down and bounces off of that. That would close the gap on the CME futures. And also, if we look at what has happened in other cycles, like in 2017 as well, I mean, we can see here, I went all the way back to like January and February of 2017 here, and we had a couple of days where we were in the green, and then we fell down on February back down to the 50 simple day moving average. We continued to rally up through April or February and March, more or less, and then we had a big dip here. But if you look at it just on from the highs to the lows on some of these dips, this was in January of 2017. We went down 37%, right? Had a nice rally up here, had then another retestment back down. We went from the high to the low approximately here was 34%. So we've had these kind of dips in the past. We also had them just last year as well. We had a dip that was about 30% also from the high to the low, if you look at that. So this is not unusual for Bitcoin to do these types of things. I was hoping, I think maybe others were hoping as well, that this cycle might be different because of all the institutional investment, everything else, that the dips are not going to be as hard for us. But we had a dip that hard that was just, I have to go back here. We go back to our top here at 73,000. This was before the halving event, right? We go back there. This was on, when was this on? March of last year, right? We went sideways for a while, and then we finally dipped down. That was a 33, almost 34% correction there on that one. So we do have these corrections. This has been definitely a much longer correction than what we saw in 2017, right? A couple of months we were going up, down, and then we were going back up. Whereas this time around we're trading sideways, then we dip and go back forward. So we'll see how this year is going to play out for us. But right now, from the top to the bottom, we've had a dip of approximately, from here all the way down here, we had a dip of 16%. Could we go down another 28% or something like that to the 200 simple day moving average? It's possible. I'm not saying it's out of the question, but it is possible that we might have that happen here. If we go, trading a little bit more sideways here and then dip down, it might be a little bit higher on the 200 simple day moving average, where it might be up to like 82,000 or something like that. So that's kind of where I'd be looking to see if we have a dip. Based on what I'm seeing here right now, I am looking to maybe move some cash over to the exchange tomorrow and possibly buy the dip a little bit here. I'm not sure. I think we're overextended a little bit here. I mean, you can see that the RSI on the daily is way, way lower than we were even back here when we dipped down to a low of 89,000, right? You can see the RSI right now is at roughly 36 on the daily. Last time we were at 36 was back here in September, right? What happened after that dip in September? Well, we took off on a nice rally here. So we'll see where it goes. Nobody knows, except for once we get there, once we get to the final destination, we'll know where we're at. And then after that, hopefully it is to the upside of things. So I am still buying the dip. I'm not looking to get out of the market or anything like that. I think this is an overreaction a little bit to the tariffs as well, but we will see. And then you guys can provide me your thoughts on it as well when we get into the Q&A side of things here on that. Some good news here. There's a lot of good news for Bitcoin and everything else, adoption that's happening here that we're going to talk about here in a second. But right now, if we look at the network hash rate, on January 31st, the last day of the month of January here, we reached a record high of 988 exahash on the daily average. The Bitcoin network hash rate. I don't know who the heck was plugging in miners at that point, but that's definitely a lot. It has come down a little bit here for February 1st. I don't have the latest data for February 2nd, which was obviously today on Sunday. So that hasn't come in through yet. If we look at the 7-day average, that has rocketed back up here to now the 7-day average is at 808 exahash. And then the 30-day average probably is starting to bounce up a little bit as well. So we'll see where that one goes. That one's still at 783. Okay. If we look at, I believe this is going to be the Bitcoin fees per day. Let me see if we got anything updated here on that. Are those spiking or not? On the 1 month, no, they're still pretty low on that one. We did have a little spike here towards the middle or 3/4 in of January. Had a little spike on BTC fees, but nothing there. And then when we look at the hash price for Bitcoin here as well, we can see on the 1 month average that's been coming down here as Bitcoin price has been coming down. So that's currently at, what is that? $56, almost $57 per petahash. So it's still not bad for the miners. We'd love to see that get closer to like the $100 range where we saw it before in the other cycles where Bitcoin was definitely pumping much higher, much faster at that point. All right. Bitcoin, like I said, for the month of February is now starting out great. We're down 5.61%. Let's get this refreshed, see what we get here. As of right now, yeah, we're still negative 5.61% on February to start out with. We'll see if we can correct that going forward because historically, February has been a really good month for us, other than maybe 2 years out of that. 2020 was not a favorable year, and 2014 as well. So we'll see where that takes us. Now, the good news here on Bitcoin is Bitcoin adoption at the state level is accelerating. Multiple U.S. states are pushing Bitcoin strategic reserve bills, and you can see Alabama, Arizona, Florida, Illinois, my home state, is nicely in the towards the third section of that. Kentucky, Massachusetts, New Hampshire, North Dakota, Ohio, Oklahoma, Pennsylvania, South Dakota, Texas, Utah, Wyoming. So this stuff is definitely happening. This is all still good stuff for us. Now, if Bitcoin crashes down to like 75,000 or 78,000 or 80,000, wherever it might get down to, is this going to slow things down? Maybe, maybe not. You know, things are moving in that direction anyways. So we'll see how that plays out also on that one. And then the only thing I have for you guys right now is the miners versus Bitcoin here for the past 52 weeks. How did they perform here from their bottoms to the tops, where they are right now, and from their lows to the highs? So this chart up top shows us that Core is still the best performing here in the last 52 weeks, up 370%. BitDeer, the second one, 254%. Hut, 242%. TeraWolf, 207%. IREN, 187%. What do all these have in common? Anyone? Anyone? Going once, going twice? HPCI. Right, that's been driving force here for these guys here in the past, along with maybe Cypher as well a little bit. Bitcoin's up 134%. And then you got some of the more pure play miners historically, like Riot, Marathon, CleanSpark, Hive, and Bitfarms. They've all underperformed Bitcoin here. Riot's only up 86%, Marathon 39%, CleanSpark 36%, Hive 34%, Bitfarms only 6.6%. Not a great performer there. And then you can see how far away they are from their 52-week highs here. Bitfarms is 62% away from that. CleanSpark away 57%, and then you got TeraWolf 48%. So TeraWolf has definitely come down from where they were at that point. Looking at the weekly, how did Bitcoin do against the Bitcoin miners here this past week? Well, it wasn't good. Bitcoin was down 6% here on the week. I track it Friday to Friday, and same thing for the miners, obviously. Cypher did a little bit better. It was only down 3%. Hive was down 5%. Then you had Marathon down 8%, CleanSpark down 9%, BitDeer down 10%. Bitfarms down 11, Riot was down 12, Hut was down 17, Core was down 23, along with IREN, and TeraWolf was down 25. These guys here, more so the last four guys at least, were HPCI plays, which got crushed on Monday of last week because of DeepSeek, right? The news came out there, everybody panicked about it. That's what happened there. So those guys got crushed on last week. Then when we look at the 4 weeks chart, we can see Bitcoin's up 5%. The only one that has outperformed it is Cypher, being up 15%. Everybody else has underperformed it, with Core being the biggest loser here, down 13%. On the 8 weeks chart, well, things look a little bit different there. Bitcoin's only down 2%. Everyone here has underperformed Bitcoin, with TeraWolf being the biggest loser, 32% down from 8 weeks ago, followed by Bitfarms down 25% and Hive 23%. And then you got Hut 8 along with Core 21% and IREN 22%. And then when we look at the 12 weeks, well, things get a little bit more interesting there. Bitcoin's actually up 9% from 12 weeks ago, and the only one that has outperformed it is BitDeer, being up 67%. Everybody else has underperformed here, with TeraWolf down 34%, Bitfarms down 36%, Hive down 34%. Everybody is somewhere else in the middle. So, yeah, this past week was not good to the miners that we saw. It was atrocious, I guess you could say, especially the HPCI guys. Those guys got really crushed. So we've had a red week all together here last week. It was a mixed week for the week prior. We had a green week prior to that. Then we had a red week, green week, 2 weeks of red in December, obviously. And then it's kind of more mixed down the road here. Whereas we saw Hut 8 had a nice run up here for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 weeks. 2 months of just green for them. So they did a great job there, obviously. And that's how things stack up on it. That's all I got for you guys. Not much happening here. Well, other than tariffs and Bitcoin price going down, hash rate going up. It's going to be interesting to see what happens tomorrow. I'm sure the miners are going to get beat up pretty good, especially since we had like a 14% drop in Bitcoin price over the weekend here. Unless Bitcoin really starts to go back up, it's going to be a bloodbath here tomorrow with the miners, I'm expecting. All right, let's get into your guys' Q&A. We'll call it a day after that, see what you guys have to say on any of this stuff. And then also if you guys were able to verify that Dr. Lewis charge stack on X has indeed fallen ill, and hopefully he gets the treatment and recovery as soon as possible. All right, so if you guys could preface the questions with a Q, I'm going to scroll up a little bit on everything, see if there's any questions that I missed, and then I'm going to work my way down here as well, and we'll get through everything going forward. Let me see. What do we got here? All right, I see a bunch of comments. Let's see if we got any questions here, actually. Let's see, I thought I saw a question here. There it is. Okay. David asks here. Two activist investors in Riot, would that be considered karma for Jason Less? Yeah, I mean, maybe, right? Going after Bitfarms, trying to take them over with a hostile takeover. Is that karma? Maybe, maybe not, but maybe it'll work out better for them going forward. Especially if they can get somebody that's, well, I'm not somebody, I'm just saying that if they can get a customer there for HPCI, I think that would be good. All right, let's see another question here from B82. Question, you like hash growth by the miners, but isn't hash just an incremental cost unless it increases the percent of global hash a miner controls? Yeah, so we've seen what we've seen with the miners here, especially the ones that I cover here, like 11 of those guys. Their hash rate has been growing more so than the network hash rate. So they're basically taking market cap of the network hash rate, right? They're at close to like 30% as of December. We'll see where they end up in January, but their percentage of the network hash rate has been growing more so than anything else. So they are doing better than some of the other maybe smaller miners and some of the private miners out there as well. There might be some other public miners that we don't track, or I'm sure there's a lot. I mean, I think Bitmain at one point was probably like 60, 80 exahash of the network hash rate at one point, if not higher. But they sold off a bunch of that stuff to, what is it, Cango or something like that. So, yeah. What else we got here? If there's any questions, let's see. MicroStrategy is already down 10% overnight. Yeah, it's gonna be rough tomorrow morning with the miners and MicroStrategy and everything else. Let's see. JK says Cleanspark will be down more than 20%. Okay, good buying opportunity. At least for me it is, right? However you guys treat this kind of a pullback is up to you. You can buy into it, you can sell into it, whatever you want to do. Let's see. All right, Chris has a question here. Chance everything will actually pump tomorrow? Depending what Bitcoin does overnight. Bitcoin actually rebounds and pumps. I mean, right now it's at 93,000. Yeah, I just don't know. It's down 4% here. We'll have to see what it does. Let's see. DFly says this has to be the pump before we pump. Maybe we go down even lower, right? I talked about that earlier. We could go down to like 78,000 potentially, where the 200 simple day moving average is at. All right. Let's see. Question, why are the miners good to get into when it takes a step forward and 2 steps back? Well, I guess you need to have the belief that Bitcoin is actually going to go up, right? If you don't believe that, then miners are a terrible investment. I will tell you that. I'm sure you would agree with that. So the belief has to be that Bitcoin is going to go up here. Why would Bitcoin go up? Well, adoption, right? The big thing is adoption. The other thing is the supply. Every 4 years, the supply gets cut. So there's a belief that Bitcoin's going to go up in value because of those things, right? More and more people want it, so forth, so on. So if you still believe that Bitcoin's going to go up this cycle and we're not done with this cycle yet, that's the reason why you would get into the miners, because the miners should do much better going forward, especially once you start reporting like quarterly results for Q4. Let's see. A lot of retail will be taken out surely here. I think there's not a lot of retail here to begin with. I think it's largely driven by institutions right now. Retail has not gotten into it like they have in the past. Let's see, better chance Seb lands a supermodel tomorrow than the miners pumping. I'm happily married to a beautiful, beautiful woman. So I am not looking to land a model anytime soon here. I think my wife would not approve of that. So I am very, very thankful for what I have. Okay, it's a question. You think they could announce SBR and surprise the market? There's always a chance of that, right? We never know. Mark, like button reminder. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Why didn't pop up? There it is. All right, let's see. JK says, hey Seb, what do you think about will happen over the short term with Cleanspark? In the short term tomorrow, I think it's going to go down, right? Bitcoin going down over the weekend, down almost 14%. The miners are going to go down tomorrow as well. So Short term, I think it's going to go down, but they are going to be reporting their quarterly results for Q4. I'm guessing here with probably in the next week or two. I haven't seen that data actually that was published for that yet. So I think at that point, when they do announce it, depending where Bitcoin's at that point, I think they will pump because they should have really good Q4 results. Let's see. He said, will you buy this dip or do you think it will plummet more? I will buy the dip, but I will have some cash on the side just in case it dips even more. So that's the plan right there. Let's see. Seb, if the miners don't rally this year, do you plan on holding them through the next BTC bear market? No. Nope. If I come out even at 0% gains, okay, I put a bunch of cash into it over the last 2-3 years, well, probably now 3-4 years. So I'll pull that out, get into something else at that point. I will not be going through the bear market again. Even if I might have lost a 10% or something like that. Okay, well, we tried. We could have probably done things differently, right? Retrospective, look back in the mirror, say, should we have sold Cleanspark at $24 and Marathon at $30 or something like that? Bitfarms are like $5 or something like that. Probably, right? No one knows until they're past a certain point, and you can retroflect on what has transpired. All right. I'm wondering if you think pure play mining stocks like Riot might have a run still after this pullback. Well, Riot's not. Okay, so Riot's kind of in purgatory right now a little bit, I would say. I think because they are having activist investors there that are pushing them to go into HPCI, they've paused on the Bitcoin mining. They're now becoming more possibly into the HPCI business, right? Can they get a deal there from a customer or something like that? Maybe, maybe not. We'll have to wait and see how long that takes or if they even get one. So I wouldn't call them a pure play anymore based on the simple fact that they have paused expansion of Bitcoin mining and the remainder, I think it's 600 megawatts that are going to be used possibly for HPCI. So for that reason, I say they are not a pure play. But I do think that some of the pure play miners, especially if Bitcoin still goes up to like 200, 250,000, where a lot of people think. If you guys had a chance to watch Plan B on YouTube, his stock to flow model, great video that came out, I think, over the weekend on Friday, I believe it was. I can't remember which day, but I watched it over the weekend. He goes into where he still believes that Bitcoin's still going to go up higher, right? But it's going to be a bumpy ride. So, let's see. Chris has a question here. BTC versus 529 for your kids. 529, correct me if I'm wrong here, it's the investment that you can put into for your kids' schooling down the road, right, I believe? Is that it? I would say BTC. Let's see here. Who has skin in the game right now with the miners? Well, you guys know I do. I'm sure everybody here listening to a certain extent has it. When's Cleanspark earnings? I don't know. They haven't provided the exact date yet. So I'm still waiting on that. Okay, what else we have? There we go. Will you buy this dip, Seb? If so, which miners? I will buy the dip, and if I will buy Cleanspark and IREN right now. That's the plan here. Also, tomorrow is going to be Bitfarms reporting, so we'll see what they do as far as growth in January. If there is no growth, I may sell another portion of my holdings there. I sold some back in early December when they were reported on November. So that's what I'm looking to get into right now. Is just Cleanspark and IREN are the two. Let's see. Follow up. Do you track each miner's percent of global hash rate? If not, is that data in your spreadsheets together? I do track it. It's in there. It is under, let me see, where is it at? It's going to be under the Bitcoin comparison spreadsheet or miners comparison spreadsheet. It should be in there. Let me pull this up for you guys. Miner comparison spreadsheet. So if we look at it here, it is underneath the monthly hash rate. And then it should be, here it is, percentage of network hash rate prior month, right? So where were they in November? And then the current month as well, you can see the percentage that they have there. So I'm looking to see if there's any change in those as well, month over month hash rate market share change. So Cleanspark grew theirs. Who else grew theirs a little bit? Hive grew theirs, it looks like. IREN grew theirs as well. Mara. Riot actually looks like they lost a little bit here. Tariffs actually grew some there as well. Cypher grew a little bit as well. So I do track it, so it's in there. So I do track it monthly as well. I track a lot of data points. Maybe to a fault. I don't know. We'll see. Okay, let's go back here to the Q&A. Talked about that. Okay. JK says 94.50 is hard resistance for BTC. No way it will break that, only down from here. So you're thinking we're going down to like the 80,000 mark, maybe 78,000, something like that. Okay. Okay, let's see. Question, based on the last term, I thought Trump liked the market to go up. What are your thoughts? Yeah, he wants the market to go up. He wants to be remembered for a president that had a good market going up, right? But this time around, I think this is the last term he can be in office. So maybe he doesn't give a crap's butt about it. And he's going to do the things that he thinks are right, which maybe they are right, but they're going to be painful in the short term. Maybe. I don't know. Let's see. Ed says, I have a feeling that the tariffs things will be resolved by tomorrow. Not sure about what your media is telling you in the States, but in Canada, we are united to boycott U.S. goods for tomorrow. Okay. Yeah, it's kind of what I've been hearing as well, that the Canada and Mexico is not happy. They're kind of like teaming up against the United States, it seems like. Let's see here. Nibble says, I think our fate is sealed for the first half of the week. At the very least, this is true for Monday. Yeah, I would say Monday. Monday is going to be in the crapper for sure. We'll see where Tuesday is at least. I can't imagine that the old guys in the United States or U.S. Senate are going to vote to put America assets into holding Bitcoin. Only 14% of Congress hold any crypto. Why do you think SBR can pass? I think it's because of the mandate that the people have shown for Trump and everybody else there, right? So he's got the Congress, the Senate, or the Senate and the House, and the presidency. I think that's the reason why. Plus, you're seeing states. A lot of states you got 20, I think over 20 states now that are looking to do an SBR. So I think that's happening there. Right. Plus, when you have people like BlackRock, Larry Fink, and others talking about Bitcoin, all of those old guys and gals that are in there, they're listening. They listen to Larry Fink, what he thinks and what he says. So there's just a lot of things happening here. Let's see. Ethan says, better to get out now and get back in later. Global market crash ahead. Okay. That's definitely one way to do it, and maybe the prudent way to do it as well. But like I've said before, I am terrible at timing. If I get a dip, I will buy the dip. I'm not going anywhere. Let's see. Chris says, Seb is shooting with IREN. Yep. Greens from Ireland. My notifications woke me up with the stocks being down so much. This is just a shakeout. Another one. Possibly. JK says this is no shakeout. BTC is falling. Well, it fell over the weekend, right? But we're not falling much now. At least we're at 93,194, so it's not too bad. All right. The question, is this just a ploy by Trump and Musk to create a buying opportunity? It could be that too. We don't know, right? It could be just to scare the market, I think the Canadian dollar is at the weakest point it's been against the United States dollar in like 20 some odd years. So, yeah, who knows? It's going to be interesting to watch it play out for sure. Mark says 92,000 was my expected bounce off level. Watching it go down. So I'll be watching 3 to 4 a.m. at 6:30 to 7 a.m. Eastern for BTC interest and buying. Okay. CR says it will rebound, only taking out all leverage positions. Would be good if that's the case. Why would miners rally? BTC could have topped, and with the price target of 130,000, not much room for miners to run. Thoughts? Who's saying 130,000 would be the top? If you look at the power law and the Bitcoin stock to flow ratio, you're looking at closer to being above 200,000, right? We don't know exactly where it's going to be, but 130,000, I don't think it's going to be the top for this stuff, for this cycle at least. But you never know. See, Jackie, the sky is falling. The sky is falling. Yeah. See, a real deleveraging would CBTC dip under back. I don't think it's going to go that far down 50. I think the part that I would be looking for, like I said, was around probably like the 78,000 mark to get the semi-futures gap filled, and then we would possibly rock it. And that would be roughly a 30% drop, which historically we have seen in Bitcoin here. So that's kind of where my expectations would be if we do go down that far. All right. What do you think Cleanspark will open at? I can't believe BTC dumps right when they were going to release strong earnings. Well, we don't know exactly when they're going to report earnings here, so that might be in a week, right? Maybe later on this week or next week. So we don't know And we don't know what's going to happen with Bitcoin at that point also, so be mindful of that. But what's going to do tomorrow? It's going to be down. I'm pretty certain it's going to be down for tomorrow. Why does the public not allow to know how much the two investors invested in Riot? I think at a certain percentage, it has to be reported. So I'm guessing that they are below that percentage of ownership in this company there. I just don't know what that percentage is. CR says, great day to buy. If you like Cleanspark at 10, then 8 or 9 is even better. Yeah. What else do we have here? Okay, Mark says, I sometimes take a loss on a couple positions to reposition for greater expected gains. Yeah, I mean, there's many ways to do it. There's no real wrong way to do it as long as you're prudent and you have a history of gains, right? So I'm all for that. Whatever works for you is, you know, going to be the best. Okay. Why IREN? With deep sea news, is this still worth it? So for me, it's always been on the Bitcoin mining side with IREN. Anything else that they're doing with HPCI was just a bonus. If they get HPCI, great. If they don't, they're going to be generating a heck of a lot of revenue here with Bitcoin mining, getting to 50 some plus exahash later on this year, right? I think maybe even before the end of the first half. So that's just all great news for me. I wish they would have a HODL position, but they don't. But the mining side of things is what attracts me to IREN at that point. Everything else beyond that is bonus. So that's the way I kind of look at it. Let's see. Okay, let's see here. Chris says, let me see a question. Seb, there is a guy who uses my screen name here. If there is, I don't know what the difference between you guys, which one would be the correct one and the wrong one. I'll see if there's, I haven't seen it in the board yet, or in the comments. I'll see if I can find it. But yeah. Let's see. Mark says, thanks for the Sunday night review. Helps us all keep a clear mind. You're very welcome. Yeah, thanks for coming in as always. Why not buying Hive on dip? If CORZ drops more than others, again, it should be on the shopping list also. CORZ, I would agree there. CORZ, I think, got beat down because of DeepSeek, right? But CORZ has all the contracts in place for the next 12 years. So why did that one fall? I mean, it has solid contracts in place with CoreWeave. I think also the story on DeepSeek was very, what's the word I'm looking for here? Very misleading, I guess. Right, 6 million was only to train the model from V3 to R1. It doesn't account for all the capital they put into it to get it to V3 or whatever that version was for it. So I think they spent probably well over $500 million to do that. I just don't see that happening under, you know, like they're saying 6 million. That's BS. There's no way about it. So the story, the way it came out, it was very misleading, I think. Let's see, Dixie is climbing like a rocket, but the 10-year is falling right now. Ooh, interesting. So the dollar's climbing, but the 10-year is falling, but the bonds is falling. Yeah, I do not know. I'm not an economist when it comes to that stuff. That's somebody, you're going to have to ask that to somebody else that has more knowledge and more history as far as how things play out in the past. Let's see. CR says this happened before in 2018 when Trump introduced tariffs. Market rebounded fine. Well, let's take a look at that. Let's see if we can see that in 2018. I did see a chart on that, on X. I did see that, so yes, you are correct. It did go down and then it bounced after that. Yeah, so you are right on that. We did see that, but I just don't know where to find. I don't know exactly when the date was that he announced it. Okay, what else here? Let's see. All right. Minor Degen says, we'll be lucky to see 150,000 this cycle. You know, you might be right, but I honestly hope that you're very wrong on this. That would be a very underwhelming cycle, I guess you could say, especially with all the adoption that's happening here. So I just do not see that still being the case. CR says, hang tight and buy a little of your favorite stocks. Yep, I would agree. Let's see. The Mark says the next 2 months will be very hard. Bank liquidations, fiat crisis, worldwide, world economies, etc. You think it's going to be that bad? That it's going to get to those levels? I hope it doesn't get to that. OTC has a question here. BTC has been going up before and after having most miners expect. A few have been going down since March 2024. Even if BTC goes up, miners may not, it seems. I think they will, right? And the reason the miners were going down is because of the halving, yes. Revenue got cut in half basically overnight for them. And then we had a couple of quarters where they weren't generating, crap. They were trying to rebuild and everything else, get their hash rate doubled from where they were pre-halving. A lot of those guys have done that right now, and that's the result of Q4 results. So we're going to see here in a couple of days for some of these guys, or in a week or so. I think that may, depending on what Bitcoin does, if Bitcoin goes down, yeah, that may not help. And I would say at this point, if Bitcoin's going down and you have a release to put out, I would maybe hold that off a couple of days or a week or so until Bitcoin starts going back up, because I don't know if there's going to be enough to help the stocks there at that point. Let's see. Christian has a thought here, I guess. Hey, Seb, just a crazy thought. Would you buy some alts as dip right now? No. Alts, no. I mean, that's the other thing. If you look at the Bitcoin dominance here in the alts, I had this up. I was looking at it earlier today. BTC dominance is to a new all-time high here. Let's come back down a little bit here, but check this out. This is Bitcoin dominance here. Market cap dominance. 64% was the high here today, it looks like. It's back down to 62%. Yeah, I mean, it just continues to go up and up and up against everything else, it looks like. So, this is, when was this? 2021, right at the peak, 73%. I wouldn't. That's just me. You can try playing the altcoins and everything else, but it's, a lot of times the altcoins don't do as well the second time around, and you get new favorites and new things that are being pumped and things like that. So I'm staying away from alts. I do have some alts that I got in last cycle. I'm looking to sell those things as fast as possible, and once I turn a profit on those things, or at least get even with them. That's at least the game plan here. All right, let's go back here. All right. Okay. Liam says, I'm buying the dip. This is my third cycle. Been here 50 times already. Nice. Yeah, this is going to be my third cycle also. 2017, 2021, and now this one. Question, I hope this is not the end of the miners. Monday is just going to be pure pain. It is going to be pain. Yeah, unless things turn around here in Bitcoin in the next, I would say, what time is it now? 8, 9 o'clock in the next, what is it going to be? 10 hours or so, roughly, before the markets open up? Let's see. What else do we have here? Gerard says, Canada will join BRICS soon, thanks to Trump. Yeah. So you're basically going to, well, I'm not going to go there. I'm not even going there. I'm going to leave it as is. Oh, let's see. What else we got here? Pitt says, good deep buying opportunity. I'm going to scoop a couple. Nice. Let's see. Mortem says, actually, this is a good point. Trump knows we have midterm elections this fall, so if he brings too much pain, he will lose Congress. Also, Canada and Mexico send about 80% of their exports to the United States, so they are in bad position. Okay. Yeah, I know we get a lot of stuff from them, so we'll see. It's just right now, it's a game of chicken, right? I think everybody's looking at each other, going down the road, and it's just like, who's going to swerve first, I guess. All right, see how market will react when it open, especially Mawson and Cleanspark, down 20% or what? Crazy reaction. It is a bear market. I don't think it's the beginning of the bear market. I think it's an overreaction. We'll have a couple of days maybe then down. We've had a couple of days already in Bitcoin, and then we'll be down maybe a couple of days in the markets themselves. Correction, and then we'll maybe go back up like we did back in 2018 when he did the tariffs back then, but they were much more. Last time they weren't as wide. They weren't as wide. Last time they were a little bit more narrow and more focused on a couple of different industries instead of this wide swath that he's doing right now. Let's See, when Dejan says 2 billion liquidated in 24 hours, that's a record, more than COVID dump, more than the FTX collapse. Yeah, so maybe we're just over leveraged here. Let's see, where can I check the after hours price for core? Thanks. Try Robinhood, maybe Webull as well, some others as well that I know that might have over after hours trading, things like that. Check those. All right. The question is, BTC down today against the USD, or is it also down against other currencies? Dollar is really up tonight. I'm wondering if there is some sort of forex opportunity using BTC. Yeah, that I don't know. I don't track BTC against the US dollar or other currencies as well. So sorry about that, but can't help you there, unfortunately. Okay. So Cleanspark earnings February 6th, this Thursday, according to TradingView. Yeah, but usually they would report that. Maybe they will report that tomorrow, but usually they report that in a press release saying we're going to have our earnings and then we're going to have our conference call afterwards or beginning of the day or whatever that is. But they usually provide that. So I haven't seen that yet. So I wouldn't say that's accurate, at least. That's questionable. Bitcoin tops around 115,000. What price target are you looking for Cleanspark? 115,000, that's not much from where we are right now. I would say they're going to be where they are, or just up, 50 cents to $1 maybe at that point. Nowhere near what we thought we were going to see with it. Let's see. All right, Sebastian Brock says falling 10-year indices indicates the bond market may be expecting a dovish Fed pivot. Maybe because tariffs can slow the economy, I'm guessing. And that might be the case, all right? If you get tariffs, those slow down the economy, inflation goes up, right? Fed will then raise rates to bring down the inflation possibly. So that could be it. Guy says, FYI, Cleanspark earnings February 14th. Where are you seeing that? See, we're getting different dates. We got the 6th here. We got the 14th. That's what I'm saying. I'm waiting until they actually announce, provide a press release for that. So what are your top indicators? Have you looked at Pi Cycle top indicator? I have looked at the Pi type. It's been a while, though. I probably need to look at it again. I'd like to look at the stock to flow model, right? It kind of gives you a basic idea where once we start seeing a lot of red RSIs on it, that's a pretty good indicator. We're getting close to it, maybe the top there. The power law also is pretty good there. And then the other sentiment is just listen around you. What's going on around your community? What's going on around your surroundings, basically? Do you have people that typically don't talk about Bitcoin start talking about Bitcoin? That might be a top signal there. So something to look out there as well. All right, let's see. What are your thoughts on what Mike Alfred said about Bitfarms, Hive, and Riot? With the interview that he had on Bryce's channel and Anthony's there, he said a lot of things. So I can't recall everything that he said because I unfortunately don't have a memory like Elon Musk does. I wish I would. Man, things would be much easier, not only in school, but in life and everything else. So he said a lot of things. Right, he said on Bitfarms that he was more bullish on them. When was it? In 2022, 2023, but then he learned about the board, so he got concerned there, right? Concerns were correct on that one. Riot, what did he say on Riot? Their operations haven't been up to snuff, right? So talked about that. Hive, I can't remember what he said about Hive though. On that one. The Cleanspark's at 936, IREN at 919. Okay, so we're having a dip there. Okay. All right, Chris. Let's see. Okay, Chris, I see what you're saying there. All right. I'll see if we can find the other person that's impersonating you, and I'll try and block him if I can, okay? We'll see. See, Sarah Mellon Gaming says, Seb, strap in, buddy. Ship is going down big tomorrow. I'm sure it is, yeah. And that's why I said I'm looking to buy some more on it. I still have a huge conviction in that things are going to go up. So this is just a bump in the road. All right. Mark says, the problem with the Trump tariffs is that his staff has already worked this out in advance before he announced them. Canada and Mexico are just reacting to it, and the power of this move is with Trump. Okay, all right, that's what we're hoping for. That's right. Could be a negotiating tactic that's looking 2 steps, 3 steps ahead of everybody else. That would be the ideal situation there. Let's see. Gerard says, oh, here's a counterpoint, right? Trump has no idea what he's doing unless it's all about creating a cheap buying opportunity for him and his friends. Well, it would also be a cheap buying opportunity for all of us. So take it for what it's worth. Let's see. BD2 says, BTC coming back. Is MicroStrategy going to be buying? I'm sure they're going to be buying. I think they just got, what is it, like 500 million from that new offering that they have. Let's see. Rome Maggie here says, Seb, yesterday you ignored BTC crash due to tariffs. All BTC miners are affected indirectly, right? Implemented tariffs. Do you think BTC will drop to low 50s if tariffs continue for a month? I don't think we're going down to 50%. 50% is basically a 50% correction. At that point, we're in the bear market and we're done for. Historically, we've had corrections in Bitcoin of about 30 to like 35% at most, somewhere around there. They can spike down a little bit lower than that, but not much beyond that. So I would expect that as long as we hold those lines at around like 78,000 or something like that, we should be good. This would be a nice correction. We can go back up forward from there. But if we have a 50% correction, yeah, we're done for, I think, at that point. Unless something really, really major happens and we rocket back up quickly to above 100,000 again. But I just don't see that. I think at that point, people would be disillusioned. They would be, kind of furious as well. So I just don't see that. Let's see. Dad Market says you can get 11 Satoshis for a penny today. Nice. Let's see. Hi, 3 guys. Garden variety pullback for BTC. Sheet coin extermination, though. Maybe, right? Yeah, I'm not too worried about it just yet. I've been waiting for a good pullback on Bitcoin down to like the 30% mark from the high. Haven't really had it. So if this does happen now, okay, let's get it done and over with. Let's move on forward from there. BA2 says, good chat, relax tomorrow, all. Absolutely. I would say, if you can, not financial advice as always. I'm going to be buying tomorrow because I still believe the market's not done going up on Bitcoin. So that's where I'm looking at. But you guys have to do what's right for you guys, right? I know some of you guys have been already putting in a lot of money into the miners, Bitcoin as well, other things as well, MicroStrategy, and you may not be able to do that, or you dollar cost average down. I understand that's tough, right? We all have to do what is best for us. All right, but I think, let's see here. Mark Suave 25 here. Do you think like I do on this? I was looking at NVIDIA stock dating back to 2000. If you had just invested regardless and stayed the course, you'd be very well off. Hold course, gentlemen. Long term, yes. If you get into the right companies, right? Apple, if you bought that one back 20 years back, Google, Microsoft, others as well, Amazon, even MicroStrategy, if you went back a couple years back, right? Tesla, all of those companies, you would be doing very well right now. But these miners are not the ones that you want to be in for 20 years. You want to be on them at a certain point, I think, at least right now, because we've had the cycles with Bitcoin up and down. If those change to an extended cycle, at that point, maybe that changes it. But right now, it's still it's too iffy to tell if Bitcoin's going to be in an extended cycle. And we don't know how the miners are going to react to that point. We've only seen what they have done here in 2011 and 2017. So not a lot of data on those guys going far enough back. All right, let's see. Coyote has a question here. Could the double top Trump coin Kramer recommending adding BTC to a portfolio, tariffs impact, etc., be a top indicator? Oh, well, it wouldn't be a double top, unless you call getting to 108,000 and 109,000 being the double top. No, I don't think so. Right? But yeah, if you look at it that way, historically, what Kramer has said, you do the opposite and you're much better off. So yeah, I can see your point there. Okay. DGen Army coming in with their last pocket change charge. Yeah. see. But I mean, still, so you still think it's going to be March, April? What do you think? I don't think it's going to be March, April. I think if it's a similar cycle like we've had in the past, I think it's going to be more towards September, October. But if we get into an extended cycle, we could be going up for a number of years. We'll have to wait and see how that plays out. It'll be interesting. All right, Sarman says, Seb, we can't just buy more forever. When do we stop and think that maybe the miners are done? Well, that's just the thing. I would say, okay, let's just say that maybe the top is in April, right? March, April. Maybe the top is at that point. Where are the miners at that point? And if Bitcoin's still where it's at right now, more or less, okay, do we still have maybe, excuse me, do we still have time to go to maybe like September or October of this year and actually let the cycle play out? I mean, right now we're still not at the top, I don't believe. I mean, yes, Bitcoin's gone up to 109,000, but I don't believe that's the top. But I could be wrong on this. So you got to do what's right for you. If you think that the Bitcoin's not going up higher from where it is right now, that we're going to reach the top here, and Bitcoin 130,000 in March, April, or something like that, then the miners are not going to do what we thought they're going to do, and that might be the case. But I still believe that Bitcoin's going to go at least to 200,000. I was thinking 180,000 was like the minimum, even before all the adoption news, everything else that we had, just in the last, I would say, 12 to 18 months. So I think it's a different cycle. We'll see how it plays out, though. I'm not 100% certain on that yet. Let's see. Rick says, I expect a low of 91,500. From here on, ETFs don't want to see too much of a dip and lose investor faith. Market makers will go to work soon. Right? Adoption, big players in the space. Yeah. If that happens, that's great. It's the end of the world, and I know it, and we know it. I feel fine. You too. I saw your comment here in the beginning of the show. Andre, question, Seb, when you're looking at the 12-month average for miners, they all jumped big time prior to the ETFs. Have you looked at what they are doing in the comparison to the post-ETF period instead of the 12 months? So post-ETF, we've seen the HPCI plays do better. Right, that is true. We can't ignore that. That's absolute. Some of the pure play miners have underperformed. Yes. Also, but what I'm seeing here right now is some of the pure play miners are actually generating more revenue than they did before the halving event. That's not being what's the word I'm looking for there? That's not being considered, I guess, in the overall grand scheme of things. Yes, they're been beaten down by shorts, leverage plays, things like that. Eventually, I think that's going to subside. Could I be wrong? Yes, I could be wrong on it. But the quarterly results will speak for themselves, I think, here. And we're getting close to those being reported here. Question, does tariffs ruin a good Bitfarms report tomorrow? Yeah, I think if Bitcoin's still down from where it's at right now, or just holding steady where it's at right now, we're down, 12%, 11% down from where we started on Friday. Miners will be down as well. That doesn't do anything at that point. Hey Seb, that's not what you said about your wife at the Rippers last week. Okay. What happened at Rippers stays at Rippers. Remember that. I don't even know where Rippers is at. What else do we have here? Do you think the Trump and billionaires are manipulating market to short and buy low? Scary. I don't know. I know the big guys are always going to be there to manipulate the market to their advantage, so we're just here for the ride. All right. Fairbeck says, yes. Jay Burleson, I hope I pronounced it right. I love dips. Me too. Question, you still think Trump won't target, what is that, Chicom mining rigs eventually if a trade war with China? Well, he already imposed a 10% tariff on China, right? A lot of those miners, however, are being manufactured in Singapore, other places as well, and then shipped into the United States. So that kind of goes around the tariffs there a little bit. All right, question, if Bitcoin is 1 million a coin in 2035, why not buy the miners right now? 2 more halvings, the U.S. government has blown past the point of no return on the debt. Quantitative easing infinity will eventually happen. Well, you could buy the miners to hold them, but you're going to be diluted quite a bit, I think. Or at least historically we have been, right? So it's not something that you want to hold on for a very, very long time. And if Bitcoin goes to 101 million at that point, yeah, I mean, it just depends on where Bitcoin goes in the interim. How far does it go down and everything else. But if we have an extended cycle where Bitcoin just continues to go up, right, it still has those pullbacks of 20, 30%, whatever it might be, but it continues to go up to, 500 million or 500 million, well, 500,000 by, let's say, 2028 or something like that, right? Could that be a different story then for the miners, because they're just continually generating this kind of revenue that's going to be good for them going forward? Whereas before they had this time frame of about 12 to 18 months where they generate a lot of revenue, and then you had basically 2.5 years of pure pain. So that would be a different story at that point. All right, let's see. Do you think the Grayscale Miner ETF will help bring more attention to the industry? It'll bring a little bit, but I don't expect a lot. I mean, a lot of the people that are already in this industry, you guys, right, and ladies here that come in to my show and on X, that watch Rex and Anthony and Bryce, and attend spaces on X and all that stuff. There's a lot of people that are already in the space. I don't know how much more that brings in attention, maybe from institution side of things, but institutions already know about the ETFs, WGMI, BitQ, DEP, I think is another one there. So there's just a bunch of things that are already out there right now as it is. Let's see. I said, will Trump put Bitcoin symbol at Mount Rushmore too? No, that is not going to happen. I wouldn't even want him to do that. Mount Rushmore is there for the presidents. That should be only there for the presidents. I visited that Mount Rushmore, when was it? 2 years ago now? I had a fantastic time with the family. We went for basically like almost like a 8-day road trip up north and everything else. Did a bunch of sightseeing and everything else. Had a fantastic time up there. I will say, looking at Mount Rushmore, I thought it was going to be much bigger. I think maybe a lot of people get that expectation that it was going to be much bigger than when you get up to it, actually. But it's still beautiful. Beautiful sight. The facilities there were great and everything else. So had a great time seeing that. All right. Let's see. Ed says the tariffs will be resolved very soon, and CPI report on February 12th will show a lower inflation. Then we will moon before another dip on May. Okay, that would be good. Let's see. Towards the end of this week, we will be rocketing past all-time high. Bounce and pump. Okay, I like it. All right. Inverse correlation with BTC pulls plus dilution. Use stop loss or DCA till broke. Yeah. All right. I think we're caught up to all your guys' questions, comments, and everything else. Greatly appreciate you guys coming in here. We'll see what happens tomorrow. I mean, Bitcoin's still at 94,000. It's come up a little bit, so it's only down 3.29%. Yeah, we'll see where things go tomorrow. I'm guessing if Bitcoin just stays at these levels, miners will be down tomorrow. For me, like I said before, it is a buying opportunity. I still have time on these things. And it's also one of those things where I don't need the cash right now, so I can put it in there and see where it goes, but we'll have to wait and see. I still think Bitcoin's going up much higher from where we are right now. It's going to be a bloody ride. It's not going to be an easy ride. It's not going to be, a ride in a limousine. It's going to be a ride in the back of a pickup truck going over, a rough trail. So get ready for that. All right. I'll see you guys tomorrow. We'll cover everything else that comes tomorrow. Bitfarms should be reporting tomorrow. I don't know if anybody else is going to be reporting, but we'll cover that and anything else that happens. We'll see where Bitcoin goes. We'll talk about the tariffs if we get any updates on that stuff and everything else. I'll try and provide you guys with some good news at least on something tomorrow. All right. But thank you so much for coming in here as always. Wish you guys hopefully a great week. It's not starting out that way, but I wish you guys a great week and love you all. I'll see you guys tomorrow.